For about 10 years now, Apple's been working on a $10 billion project that was pretty much unlike anything we've ever seen from them before. But apparently this has been a pretty rough week for Apple because it's been reported that this very project, the Apple Car, has been completely canceled. The Apple Car was supposed to be a next generation electric car that was completely autonomous, and it was going to go directly up against companies like Tesla. But after an entire decade and about $10 billion, the project inevitably failed. Supposedly this failure wasn't actually entirely surprising because a lot of the employees internally pretty much already had a feeling that the project was doomed to fail from the very beginning. And that's exactly what it did. And now the codename Project Titan is pretty much being dubbed internally as the Titanic disaster. Not only that, but it seems like the AirPod Max 2s, which were expected to come later on this year, aren't going to be as much of a generational leap as we all thought they were. A lot of people were pretty much hoping and even expecting that the AirPod Max 2s were going to get the H2 chip that made it into the AirPod Pro 2s, but apparently, according to reports, Apple's plans for the AirPod Max 2s this year are just going to be nothing more than a change to a USB-C port. So that pretty much means that the AirPod Max 2s are going to miss out on a lot of the adaptive audio features that we got on the Pro 2s. This is kind of unfortunate for Apple because it seems like SONOS is actually planning on coming out with the SONOS headphones before the AirPod Max 2s come out, and they're actually expected to come out within just the next few months. Supposedly, SONOS planned to have them out by May, but apparently there have been some issues internally with a redesigned version of the SONOS app, along with the ability for the headphones to connect to Wi-Fi networks. But if SONOS does get these issues worked out, we could end up seeing these come out by June or July. And when they do come out, they're supposedly going to come out for a price of about $449, which is about $100 than what the AirPod Maxes start at. But it's not all bad for Apple because it actually seems like they could be coming out with another set of headphones that just seems a little bit more exciting. Recently, we just got some leaks about the Beats Solo 4s, which are expected to be the on-ear versions of the Beats Studio Pros that came out just last year. According to the leaks, we're hopefully going to get some of the new features that the Studio Pros got, along with pretty much the same design as the Solo 3s, aside from some new black, pink, and blue colors. As far as other audio products from Apple go, this could be the year we finally see a touchscreen HomePod from Apple. Recently, we got some leaked images of a HomePod with a curved display. This is expected to be an LCD display that could display things like the current track playing, media controls, as well as volume controls. Apple is also working on other kinds of HomePods, like ones with built-in Apple TV, as well as ones with a swiveling arm, which would potentially go up against something like the Echo Show and the Nest Hub. We've also been hearing about Apple's plans to update the Vision Pro. The first generation came out just last month, but supposedly Apple's also right now working on an updated version. With that being said, this new version might not really be coming out until 2027, so if you're waiting for the second generation before you invest in it, then you may have to wait a little longer than you thought. Even still, for the time being, if you want to get a Vision Pro, you have to get it only in the US since that's the only place it's available due to its limited stock. But supposedly, Apple is getting ready to sell it internationally, possibly around the time of this year's Worldwide Developers Conference. Speaking of the Vision Pro, we've also been hearing about some ideas that Apple's going for iOS 18 coming out later on this year. And one of these ideas is the possibility of redesigning the interface based on the Vision Pro. I'm not entirely sure what this means yet, but there is a possibility that Apple could use circular icons instead of the current square ones, alongside more 3D elements than what we have right now. As far as Apple's other plans for iOS 18, there's a big possibility that Apple's going to be focusing pretty heavily on artificial intelligence. And supposedly when the iPhone 16 comes out, then this is definitely going to be one of these central features. If you want to hear more about what Apple's planning, then be sure to check out this video next, and I'll see you over there. Adios.